Okay, so this is the flip cam that we're using today. They're fairly simple if you've never used one before. It's basically press the red button and you're recording. Press the red button again and you're not recording. Alright, so what I did is I've got some video and now I'm just going to walk through how to kind of get the video off of the camera and onto the computer, and then how to load it into our analysis software. Okay, so first thing you do is you just pull on the little button and you open up the video port and you plug it into your laptop. Okay, now once you plug it into the laptop, it should recognize it, so it's going to actually open itself up. And let's see, there we go. And so now I'm actually going to open it up in the Flip Video software. So we're going to let the Flip Video software open up. Okay, so it's called Flip Share. Okay, and as it goes through, it'll actually open up all of the files. So now I got to wait until it opens up all the files. Okay, I can close that, cancel that. This is going to take a while. Here, I'm going to pause this while it's loading. Alright, so now we're back. And I just want to double check, see, I can look at the videos themselves, and I think this is the one that I want. Let's see. No, this is not the one that I want. I'm going to look here until I find the one. Where's this one? There we go. So this is the one video that I want. So this is the clip that I want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say export. Okay, I did a right click to export, and I'm going to export this video into the computer. And so I need to select a location for it, and I'm just going to save it right on in the My Videos folder. Okay, and so I'm going to go ahead and save it there. And you can double check to make sure that it is saved there, so you can go into the documents. Now at this point we don't need it anymore. Now we could have done some trimming. So say you guys took a really long video, you could have done some trimming within this software, so you could have actually clipped and trimmed some of those things as well. Alright, so we're done with getting the video off of the camera, so I can close that program. And now we're going to actually open up the Logger Pro program, because this is the one that is going to make our analysis, or that we're going to use for video analysis. Alright, so now Logger Pro is going to open up. I'm going to pause here too. The bell's going to ring. Okay, so now I'm back here. I just wanted to make sure we got through the morning announcements. Alright, so now I've got Logger Pro open, and now I'm going to insert a movie. Okay, because that's what we want to do, is we want to pull that movie in. Okay, and so now I'm just going to go find that movie, and so I have to do my drop down menu until I find the folder that it's got it in. So it's in My Documents, My Videos. Now it doesn't show up right away, and what you may have to do is you may have to switch to all files so that we can actually see that video. Okay, and then I'm just going to click open, and it'll open it up. So I've got my video there. It's a little big right now, and I am actually working on one of the same computers you guys are going to be working on, so I wanted to make sure that you saw that. I'm just dragging the black corner dot to make it a little smaller. I'm going to do the same thing with this graph. Okay, I'm going to make it a little bit smaller so that I can kind of see both of the items. Now anytime I get to the little hand, I should be able to drag things up and bring them there. Okay, now I'm going to turn on my tools, and my tools are that little red device there, and then see, I need to slide this over a little bit. Now everybody's going to be doing their own video analysis, so everybody needs to have their own to work with. Now, I suppose I might not be able to see what I'm looking at because the picture of me is there, so I'm going to slide this over a little bit. Alright, maybe make it a little bit smaller. Now it works better if I have it a little bit bigger, but I'm trying to make sure that you can see it too, so I'm going to drag it over here. Okay. Now what's going to happen is we're going to turn on some tools, but first we need to find the part of the video that we want to watch. Okay, so I'm just going to play my video just to watch it again. Okay, you're going to see the hand moving. Oop. Okay, I want to back this up. Now I can back it up by frame, and you can actually see this is the frame count up here. So in other words, there's 206 frames out of 210 frames. And by the way, these things are recording at about 30 frames a second. So in other words, to get 1 second, I'm going to have like 30 frames. Okay, so you can actually see that cameras tell us about time. Okay, so now I'm just clicking back and dragging back my frames until I get back to the point where we have contact with the ball. Okay, now by the way, this is the video I took last night. It's a Bakugan ball, I think is what we're using here. And this is my son Cole, and he was just going to be my assistant for this. Alright, so now I'm going to go 1 frame forward, and you can see his hand's not touching yet. There's a frame forward. So now this is going to be my starting spot. So now I have to grab a new tool. And I'm going to start by putting an origin on, so I'm going to select, set the origin, and I'm going to put the origin right at kind of about the center of the ball. Okay, and so now I'm going to select my first point, and to get a point I'm going to click on the add point, and then I'm going to put the point at, I'm going to try to hit it 0, 0. Whoop. And I can see my coordinates here. There we go. I can see my coordinates because it's telling me the coordinates of the cursor right here. Okay, so I put my point in there. Now the moment that I clicked it, you can see that it moved the ball forward. So I'm going to start adding more points along this. Okay, so I'm just going to add another point, add another point, add another point. Now basically the first 4 points of my video, you can now see where the hand broke. So in other words, the first 4 points represented the time that was in contact between the hand and the ball. So in other words, if I wanted to actually figure out the amount of force that Cole was applying on the Bakugan ball, I would just have to know how much time. And remember, each frame represents 1/30th of a second. So in other words, 4 frames would be 4/30ths of a second. Okay, so that moves me into my time frame. Now I'm just going to keep adding points to this, and I'm going to try to always keep the same point in mind as I'm going through. And I'm going to get a nice little graph of motion. Now one of the reasons why we're doing this is because when we go to the Mall of America, I'm going to send you again with these exact same cameras, and we're going to get video footage of roller coasters and spinny rides. Okay, and so we're going to look at this. So again, I'm just adding in some points. Probably good. So I probably have enough points right now. Now I haven't given it a scale yet. So that's the last thing that I need to do, is give it some kind of a scale. So I'm going to set my scale, and I believe that I measured the Bakugan ball to be like 2.5, no, it was like 3 centimeters, I think. Okay, so I'm going to put in my distance, and it's in meters, so it's 0.03 meters, so that's 3 centimeters. And I'm going to say okay. Okay, and so now I've measured that, and I've got that. So now it scales everything so that I can now look at my graph. I'm just going to click on my graph, and you can see that gave me a lot of points. Now it gives me points in both X and Y directions. Really, we're only looking at the things that are going on in the x direction, so I'm going to go ahead and shut off the y direction and look at just the x direction, okay? And so you can kind of see this is what's going on here, okay? I see my points going through. Now I also like to sync my video, so I'm going to back up my frames, okay? There we go. And I'm going to sync my video. Now this is sync my movie to the graph, and I want to sync the time, and this is going to be time 0 seconds. Okay, so I now have an official start point. Alright, so now there's what I have. I have my graph, and you can see that it's kind of a graph that goes up, and now this is a position time graph, so this is a good review for us on position time graphs. But you can see that it starts to taper off here, which means that we have some kind of deceleration. Okay, so our acceleration was changing, but it's actually getting flatter. So in other words, it's going down. Through this kind of part right here, remember that 1, 2, 3, 4 points, those first 4 points were really the points that were in contact. So in other words, we were applying a force through that given amount of time, and we changed the momentum of the ball. What we want to do is we want to analyze the velocity of the ball right after the impact. So I'm going to take about 4 points here. Okay, I think 1, 2, 3, 4. I grab 5 points. So in other words, I grab 5/30ths of a second of time, and I'm going to look at that, and that looks fairly straight. Okay, so I'm going to actually analyze this as a linear fit. So I'm going to click on linear fit, and it's only going to do linear fit of the ones that I've highlighted. Now, what I'm looking for then is my velocity, because if I know the velocity and if I know the mass, I know the momentum. So that gives me the momentum of my Bakugan ball. And again, I know my time in contact, so I can figure out the amount of force that Cole supplied in getting the ball to move. All right, and that's what we're working on today. Now, as far as it goes, we're going to want to record some of this, okay? And so what I'm going to have you do is, in the end, you're going to want to look at these 2 pieces of information, okay? And I want to see kind of what video you used and what was your fit. And so you're going to use pull it up here, the Screencast-O-Matic software that's on the web. All you have to do is look for screencast-o-matic.com, and you're going to click on the start recording after you've done everything, after you've got it all set up, so that you can then go back and run through your video. Oops. And show me exactly which points you are collecting and what your slope is for that. Okay? And then we'll have probably a little survey online so you can answer a couple other questions.